Hey guys, it's Paradise, and let's find out which operator is right for you in Delta Force Tactical Turmoil. Having the right operator can change the tide of battle, letting you get that down, saving a teammate, or completely controlling an area. So in this video, we're going to go over each of them so you can find out which one is best for you. So let's dive into it and tell us below which one you're liking the look of. To start off with, we have Uluru or David Feller. This is an engineer class which comes with its own perk of being able to cut through fences and other things to create shortcuts for your team. Anywhere that this symbol is present will be a hidden route that you and your team can use to get a different angle on an enemy or an alternative passageway through a certain area, which when you combine this with his abilities makes him a force to be reckoned with. His trait is Battle Hardened that gives stronger resistance to slowing effects from fractures and class gear. While it's not something that may seem super powerful at first, this means you can recover from scenarios where you and your team are being pressured quickly by slowing effects. His first gadget though is the Composite Incendiary. This tosses an incendiary grenade that detonates upon landing, quickly spreading and burning even through cover, which does damage over time to players and acts as a good aerial denial ability. Any players that walk into it will also have to put the fire out before being able to shoot, so this is great for control. But also note this will burn through his second gadget, which is Quick Set Cover. This tosses a quick setting cement sprayer that creates temporary cover to block damage and hide behind. This is great if you need some quick protection for a team, or if you need to move between areas with a little more cover. A quick tip for this one is that you can rotate it with right click when placing it, allowing it to turn in different angles. So this makes it useful to create unique cover depending on your fight. The ultimate or tactical gear is where things get exciting though, as you have the Loitering Munition that fires an image-guiding loitering munition after aiming. This splits into 4 bombs on impact, but you can also shoot it from hip fire, which will use its preset guidance without you having to manually turn it. This really is his selling point as an operator, as this thing can be used in a variety of scenarios, such as finishing off downed players, catching out enemies hiding in cover, or just taking out a whole team with a well-placed shot. You can even use it to scout an area, as you can view the rocket as you fire it when aiming, so this ability is pretty good, especially as a follow-up on downed enemy players. A great tip for this ability is that you can use it on the Brakesh map to take out the roaming boss helicopter quite easily. So if you like the sound of taking out players with insane guided rockets, then Uluru may be your operator. Next we have DeWolf, who is part of the Assault class. This means they get faster aiming movement speed, making them perfect for rushing down players. If you are a Call of Duty player, then DeWolf could be your guy, as he has the trait Tactical Slide. This enhances your agility and allows the use of tactical sliding. This means you can literally slide into enemies and around corners to catch players off guard, and this is very powerful when paired with his gadgets. For his first gadget, he has Triple Blaster. This is a hand-mounted triple grenade launcher that can be fired by pulling the trigger with the index finger. You get 2 charges, and this launches a barrage of grenades that do a ton of damage to players caught in them. Something to be aware of is that it doesn't detonate on impact, but instead on a timer. However, you can use this to your advantage, as the nades will bounce off surfaces. This means you can use it to flush players out if they're hiding in tricky places. His next gadget is Smoke Grenade. This is a short duration smoke grenade used for breaching, and it also has a reduced charge amount, meaning it's a bit more flexible than a traditional smoke in order to obscure vision. This is a standard issue smoke grenade, so it doesn't last as long as some of the other characters' smokes, but it can be deployed quickly and you get 2 charges. You can use this to reposition or retreat during a fight. But for DeWolf's tactical gear, he gets the motorized exoskeleton. With this, he activates his wrist-mounted mechanism to overload his exoskeleton's power. This gives you an increase to your movement speed and rate of fire temporarily. If you knock down enemy players, you recover HP and stamina and extend the duration of it. On first activation, it lasts for around 20 seconds, with each additional knockdown topping it up by another 5 seconds. This absolutely rewards players that are aggressive and allows you to quickly recover down teammates. So in the hands of a great player, this can be devastating for enemy teams, as you dive in and out of combat very quickly. DeWolf is perfect for players that want to be at the front of a fight. And then we have Hackclaw. She's of the Recon class, and this means you get access to the radios on the map. You can interact with these to reveal details such as the current status of the boss and more. If you prefer stealth, then Hackclaw will be right up your street, as her trait Silent Step increases your movement speed when walking or crouching and reduces its noise. This makes it a bit easier to creep up on players. Her gadget is Flash Drone, and this deploys a flying drone that travels forwards. It will produce a blinding flash of light against enemy players within range. When you aim at the decoder's path, the drone will fly along the selected yellow trajectory. The blinding effect from this is huge against enemy players, and it normally allows you to get easy downs. But watch out because players can shoot it down as it flies forwards. It's also useful to use against enemy AI, as it will temporarily blind them and flinch them, allowing you to easily take them down without receiving hits back. Her second gadget is Data Knife. This has you throw the data knife to hack into nearby electrical devices on impact, which briefly disables them. Getting direct hits on enemies will also deal significant damage. In operations, this is very situational, but it can be used on enemy bots to take them out quietly, so that you can push enemy teams without them knowing. Well, gathering information and your positioning is a massive factor in tactical turmoil modes, and Hackclaw's tactical gear signal decoder gives you a massive leg up here. This activates the decoder to periodically scan up to 6 enemy electric signals and shows their movement in your contact lenses. The closer the enemy is, the different color the line will turn, leading you in the enemy's direction. The enemy will, however, have an alert level that will increase as your Hackclaw gets closer. This can be a little tricky to get used to because of the way the lines indicate the direction of enemies and the number on the side showing the count. But most of the time, it's enough just to know the general direction of the enemy as well as the number of enemies in the area. So using this, it's pretty easy to know if enemies are around and which direction you want to look out for them. The lines that you see will be different colors depending on the distance for the targets, so bear this in mind. A red line is for the closest enemy, the yellow line is for the second closest enemy, and a green line is for the third closest enemy. Something of note as well is that it looks like the flash drone is able to follow the line of the decoder, as the in-game description says the drone will follow the selected yellow line. We haven't been able to get it to do this all of the time, but we think we have got it to work before when looking at the line itself, as you can see in this clip, where it quickly turns around the corner towards the enemy player. If you are a player that wants to focus on stealth, then Hackclaw is probably the one for you. Next we have Luna, who is probably the most popular operator in the game so far because of how powerful her abilities are. Luna is part of the Recon class, much like Hackclaw, but she gets the trait Hunter's Mark. This allows Luna's damage dealt to mark enemies hit for a short duration. This applies to both gun damage and her grenades and abilities, allowing you to quickly spot enemies for your team when damaging them to get the upper hand. Her first gadget is the defensive frag grenade. This does area of effect splash damage with shrapnel, but despite their name, it is an exceptionally powerful damaging ability that can easily knock players or completely break their armor. So make sure to use them as much as possible, and remember hits with them will also trigger her passive Hunter's Mark. Her next gadget is Volt Arrow, where she fires a Volt Arrow with her bow. Its arrowhead will generate electric currents that deal damage over time. This thing is great for sticking on enemy players to continuously damage them, or for shooting into cover or on the ground as an aerial denial ability. You can also right-click this, allowing it to bounce off of surfaces, making it perfect for those players who fancy themselves a bit of a Hawkeye, as you can bounce the shot around corners and cover. But the thing that makes this operator so powerful and popular is probably her tactical gear, Recon Arrow. This fires a recon arrow with her bow, and while flying, this arrow consumes power to probe the surrounding area and mark exposed enemies. This means when you shoot it over the head of enemies, it will mark them so you can see them through walls, and if they move, there will be a second pulse that will make the mark last for even longer. You can even tell the difference between players and bots that are scanned with this due to the colors. Bots will be red while players will be more orange. This ability is particularly insane when paired with smoke grenades, so Luna is perfect for those players that want to go into a battle with the upper hand. And then we have Shepard. This is another engineer class operator. He comes with the trait Buffer Defense that uses a hand device to generate anti-phase sound waves to reduce damage taken from explosive shocks. This is great against nade spamming teams. His first gadget is a frag grenade, and this does AoE damage with shrapnel, and as mentioned earlier for Luna, these are very powerful and can be cooked for perfect timing. His second gadget is the Sonic Trap that deploys a sonic trap that adheres to hard surfaces. When triggered, this will generate a shockwave that pierces enemies' vests and slows them down. This is great for locking down angles that your team can't hold, but be aware they do make a sound when they are approached by enemies, making them fairly easy to be discovered, so make sure to put them down in tricky to find places. They can also be remotely detonated and you get 2 of them, but players caught inside of them will have blurred vision, take damage, and will move slower, making them easy pickings. Next, however, is his tactical gear, and this is the Sonic Paralysis. This launches a sonic UAV that paralyzes enemy limbs, reducing their rate of fire and movement speed. You can press the button down to make the UAV fly forwards and paralyze the area ahead of you. You can also hold the button down to have the UAV deploy stationary and defend the current area. And enemies can get hit by this sonic paralysis up to 4 times. The UAV will destroy any active enemy sonic devices, disabling enemy sonar surveillance within the area. We have found ourselves that the hold down version is generally better and lasts longer, and it can be used to stop enemies pushing you, which is a great one if one of your teammates gets downed and you need to regain. So Shepard is great for those of you that like controlling the battlefield. Next up is Stinger, perhaps one of the best operators to pick when starting out, as it allows you to quickly recover from battles and has a bunch of tools for repositioning. Stinger is part of the support operators category, and support operators can rescue allies faster than other classes from both downed and out states. This makes them amazing for team play. His trait is the Quick Rescue, which in the game it says he uses his Hive Tech pistol for more flexible rescues and heals more HP to rescued teammates. This removes the negative effect of reduced maximum HP on outed operators. So while it is a passive thing, do not discount this, as every bit of health counts in operations mode battles. Both of Stinger's gadgets are focused around smoking, with his first gadget being the Hive Tech Smoke Grenade. Basically, you can use this as a quick deploy smoke to reposition or cover yourself, or shoot it with your ult to make a healing cloud, which is pretty cool. His next gadget is Smokescreen, which launches a gesture-controlled UAV that emits a smoke screen while flying forwards. You can hold and turn the button to change the direction of the smoke screen while the UAV is flying. This is great for covering areas in smoke, allowing you to run to cover that you wouldn't normally be able to in a firefight. We've used this many times to get the drop on enemies or to retreat when the odds aren't in our favor. On top of this, you have his core ability, which is something that really comes in clutch. This is his tactical gear, the Therapeutic Pistol. The game says the pistol has a lock and track module. When locking onto targets, it can heal multiple allied operators at the same time, so it will both heal and suppress debuffs. Holding down the button though allows you to heal yourself, and this is great for self-healing or topping up your teammates in the middle of battles. You get a number of charges for this as well, meaning you should always have enough for a fight. Do note this has an immediate heal and then regeneration over time effect. So if massive smoke screens and self and team healing sounds like your thing, then Stinger is for you. Next we have Vyron, who like DeWolf is of the assault class category of operators, meaning it's perfect for players who want to be in people's faces. Vyron's trait is super cool and useful, as when falling from a height, his dynamic auxiliary system kicks into overdrive, helping minimize fall damage while boosting your speed. The use of his gear and gadgets also increases your speed, so this is great for catching enemies in unsuspecting angles and allows you to quickly navigate the map. His first gadget is the E-Bomb Throw. This has you throw an E-Bomb that attaches to walls or vehicles and explodes when the timer runs out. This can be a bit situational for operations mode, but when you hit enemies with it, it will do massive damage. And then we have his awesome dynamic propulsion gadget. This activates his portable dynamic auxiliary device to advance in the designated direction. The great thing to know is that knocking down an enemy will also reduce its cooldown. This basically allows you to boost around corners, quickly close gaps, and even cross angles that you normally wouldn't be able to do, as you can use this mid-air. You can use this to quickly dash in and out of fights. For his ultimate, you have the tactical gear Air Shell Launcher. This fires a compressed air shell with a thumper that will knock all enemies down within its area of effect. This can be very powerful in enclosed spaces, allowing you to put the enemy team in a disadvantageous spot, giving you easy kills as they will be knocked on the floor and unable to respond. So if you want to become the king of surprise attacks, then Vyron should be your choice. Next up we have Toxic, the newest operator to be added into the roster. Toxic is part of the support class category, meaning her abilities are more focused on enhancing the capabilities of yourself and your team. Her trait is Swift Healing, which reduces the time it takes for nearby squad mates to use consumables in operations mode, and also reduces the time it takes for them to start healing after being injured in warfare. This reduces the healing time by about 20 to 30%, which can prove very useful in combat where every second counts. For her gadgets, we have the Adreno Boost, which deploys a UAV to buff nearby allies, enhancing their handling and reducing hit flinch. Allies who score a kill or assist during this buff period will receive a stronger buff the next time. It's crazy just how much more snappy this makes your ADS speed and weapon handling, making it a great choice for pushing enemy teams. And then we have the second gadget, the Blinding Gas, which throws a blinding gas grenade that blinds enemies within its range. This means enemies inside will have a very hard time spotting you, allowing you to get the drop on them and helps close off areas of the map. For her ult though, this allows for aggressive team pushes as it's called Dragonfly Swarm System. This sends forwards a swarm of UAVs by deploying this system, and if it hits teammates it will temporarily activate adrenaline for them and disrupts enemies along the path. The disruption on the enemy is very powerful as it impairs their hearing and vision and reduces their maximum HP. This can be super easy to hit if you have good teamwork, and allows you to easily take ground, especially in long corridors. So which operator are you liking the look of most and why? Tell us below, and make sure you are subscribed for even more videos on Delta Force and your favorite games coming very, very soon.